This is Ari Galper. I specialize in trust-based selling. Catch me on the next Jesse T show. Talk to you soon.
Ari, welcome to the Jesse T show.
Thank you. Appreciate having me here, Jesse.
My pleasure. I know it's 6 a.m. your time, so it's a little bit early, and I'm wrapping up my day. It's 4 p.m. my time, so we'll meet each other in the middle.
You
I
got
will
it.
steal some energy from you and return it, and we will have a badass conversation, man. So just for those of us listening and watching, tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you to today.
Yeah, so my name is Ari Galper. I'm actually from the US. I'm now based in Sydney, Australia. Accent's still the same after 20 years. And my wife online on a dating site back 20 years ago. No swiping, just photo and some text. And then we connected. She's working in LA at the time. And we decided to move out to Australia. We had a gift come to our lives. My son's name is Toby. He has special needs, Down syndrome, and we realized what a gift we had in our hands. And I wrote a book about him called Lessons from Toby, and he influenced me a lot in the story I'll be sharing today. If you know anybody has Down syndrome, you know they're very transparent, they're loving, they're so truthful. And I said to myself, why can't Selving be like that one day? Why can't he be the role model we should all go after? So he became the inspiration to the story I'll be sharing today and the whole journey around what I call trust-based selling.
Love it, man. Yeah, it's nice when you have this shining light and this beacon of truth and just raw humanness, and it really just cuts through all the bullshit, right? I mean,
yeah,
there are people out there that just for some reason miss the boat when it comes to being authentic, man, and it's sharing those scars, sharing those stories and those things that have made us who we are. That's what brings people closer to us.
yeah.
You know, we shared a little bit about kind of our past a little bit just before jumping on, and the shit that I've seen in my life, like no one should ever have to see, but in me telling that story, it's liberated me in my life.
Yeah.
And so talk about your side of things where you had this experience and you came
Sure.
into a whole new understanding of being a dad and running a business or being in business, and then how that shaped you in your selling career.
Yeah, sure. Well, the story actually kicked off my whole contrarian revolution around trust and selling. And it was before I came out here 20 years ago. I was a sales manager in a software company. You might appreciate this story. And I was managing 18 reps underneath me at the time. We launched the first online website tracking tools. Like now it's called Google Analytics. But back then it cost like a lot of money. And now it's basically free. But we launched the first online tools around this. This internet was kind of spreading at the time. The big opportunities came across my desk, the leads that were big deals. So I get this one contact, I called them back. Big company, you recognize the name, lots of websites, big opportunity. If I close this one sale, it will double the revenue of the company in one transaction. That's how big it was. So I called the contact back. We had a great conversation. He agrees to a conference call and a demo to show us what we do for him. And so day finally comes Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock. I'll never forget it. I'm in the conference room with my CEO, a closed door behind me. There's a big, long conference table in the middle of the table there. And on the middle of the table is a speakerphone, the old school corporate ones, like Star Trek, kind of 3 legs on it. And so I dialed the number, hit the speakerphone, and dial tone comes up. I dial in. He's like, hello. Like, hey, John, how's it going? Good. We connect. He says to me, Ari, let us tell you who's with us in the room today. And I was like, oh, didn't realize there'd be someone else there today. Next thing I hear is, my name's Mike, I'm CEO. I was like, oh, CEO of the whole company. This is good. My name's Chris, I'm head of global IT. This is even better. My name's Julie, I'm head of marketing. This is amazing. I mean, everybody on this call was basically a what? A decision maker. Like they were all there. This is the call we all hope for to get because we're all in one room at one time. So I introduced myself. I described what we do. I began a live demo over the web of one of the websites we collected in advance to show them what it looks like to see their stats in real time. And I started showing this to them live on the demo. And I started hearing this noise on the phone call, like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. I can't believe we can see this. And they start asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? How do we deploy it across our network? And of course, I had all the answers. I was competent technically. I was trained in sales at the time. I had the books at home, CDs in my car. I went to all the seminars like you may have gone to. And then there was so much chemistry on this phone call. It was like a love fest on the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're just going back and forth, no resistance. I mean, I'm doing my thing, they're doing their thing. And it was an amazing call. Call kind of comes to a close an hour later. My guy says to me, Ari, this is great. We love it. Give us a call a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward. I'm like, Oh, thank you, God. Like, this is like the dream sales call. And I said my goodbyes, and they said goodbye. And I took my arm and my hand, and I reached for the phone in the middle of the table. As I'm reaching for the phone, hit the off button. I'm reaching for that off button. And by complete accident, I hit the mute button instead of the off button. They were like right next to each other, and a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone. In that split second, a voice inside of me said, Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one's ever gone in the world of selling before. And so I pulled my thumb back for a couple seconds. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I had left the call.
What did you hear?
So what would you expect to hear? What would you expect to hear off a call like that? Given it was really positive. I mean,
my
honestly,
experience was like they weren't into it.
well, you'd expect things like, hey, let's plan this thing out, let's move this thing forward. But let me tell you what they said word for word, verbatim, and that's why we're here today. What they said was this: they said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information, and make sure we shop someplace else cheaper.
Wow.
Knife in heart twist. Jesse, I was in a state of shock.
Yeah.
I snapped out of it. I hit the off button. I looked at the wall and I said to myself, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I was competent. I was professional. I was honest. I did everything I was taught to do in the world of selling, and I did the right way. And the first big epiphany hit me, and you can tell me if you agree with me or not, that somewhere along the way, it has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth to people who sell. Right?
Yeah. No, it's not okay, but I know what you're saying.
It's okay to say things like, sounds good. Send me information. Oh, wait, we're definitely interested. No, hold on a minute. Send me a what? Send me a proposal. Yeah. And we get so excited. We're like, oh man, it looks really good. And then we start chasing people.
Yep.
And it gets very dysfunctional. And the whole experience gets dehumanizing. We're like, oh, how did I get here? And that's where I had the big wake-up call. And I realized at that moment that something has to shift. And I realized that what we have to do is focus on now, not on the end goal of the sale, but focus on building deep trust with people, where you build this, what I call window of vulnerability, where they feel comfortable opening up to you and telling you the truth.
Yep.
And that became a whole trust-based selling movement years ago, 20 years now, where I've helped thousands of people shift their thinking away from the end goal of the sale, but to build trust with people in a very deep way, where they open up. And ironically, when you let go of the sale, you make 10 times more sales. And that's what we'll talk about today.
Transactional versus relationship, right? Like if you're looking at just people, as we used to say, if people had like dollar signs in their eyes back in the day when we had people's sales reps in the field walking into transactions, like they were just hungry for the sale, and they miss out on the nuance of relationship and building rapport. And the other side to this too is closing the deal, like asking for the business and not just pussyfooting around and like hoping for a call back. I mean, because I was in sales for a while, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to go that way. And I also had a feeling that like they were just going to string you along, because I've been there too. And it sucks. It's the worst feeling in the world. And I've done any kind of sale from outside sales, door to door, to high level, like software sales. And it's like in between, no matter what you're doing, and you can speak to this, and I want to hear more about what you've learned, but authenticity, relationship, sales acumen, product knowledge, those things matter, but there has to be this connection. There has to be this openness and authenticity in anything that you do.
Totally. And that's the missing link here, is trust and authenticity. And we'll talk today about how we're unconsciously sleepwalking through the process now and aren't even aware of our own behavior that's actually triggering that to occur. And when you make this shift in your own mind and your own process and your own languaging, you get a massive breakthrough in your business and personally, because this really is trust-based communication. This applies to relationships, kids, negotiation. This is about how you communicate with people, even though we're kind of angling towards selling today. But I think this is a life lesson about how we can be sensitive and how we're being perceived to connect at a deep level with people.
What was your knee-jerk reaction from there? So you get the shot in the heart. You don't feel good. You felt like a little, maybe betrayal. I don't know, some of the feelings that you felt because you put yourself out there. It sounded like it was a good rapport, and then it's like kind of, get punched like you didn't see it coming. Did you immediately go on the drawing board and say, okay, what could I have done better? What should I do differently? Did you go on this learning path and journey? How did you create what became what it is today?
I quit my job.
That day? Wow.
I said to myself, I'm never again going to let this happen to myself and anyone else who I ever meet. And I made it my mission going forward to be the contrarian in the industry that changes the game, that helps people who are in selling or owners and entrepreneurs who got to make a living and got to sell something, who don't have to ever get caught in that net of dehumanization and just giving up their soul. Why should that happen? That became the whole thrust of my, what I call unlock the sales game approach, the whole program that we have now, because that was the moment that said to myself, enough is enough.
So you just quit, and at that moment you were just so in your decision that you just did it. But did you have any irons in the fire? Like, because a lot of times when you're in sales, you get recruited, you get other opportunities kind of come your way. And so, did you have another thing that you were looking towards, or you just said, "Screw it, I'll just make it happen from here"?
I wanted to go on my own. I wanted to launch my own philosophy, my own system, my own model that basically cracks the code on this thing.
Nice.
And that's what I spent 20 years honing, is how to build trust in a way you've never seen before, that might even blow your own mind what we're talking about today. And I'm going to be busting a lot of elephants in the room today as well.
Bring it. So I want to hear, what's the core tenets of this philosophy that helps you just build this beautiful, unbreakable trust?
Definitely. Let's first work on what I call, let's clean out the hard drive, the old ghost in the back of our head, some old sales myths that we still have lodged back here. And you might recognize a few of these. The first one is, sales is a numbers game. I know you know that one, right?
Oh, for sure. Law of averages. Yeah.
The more contacts you make, what's supposed to happen, the more sales you're supposed to make. You know, we discovered this economy now. It's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation, how good you are at trust building, not how good you are, how big your network is. That's number one. That's a very contrarian view of the world. The second one is a big one, that the sale is lost at the end of the process. I'm sure you've been there before. You had a deal pending. It all looked good. Great conversations, all thumbs up. At the end, it just kind of like just disappeared on you. Like, hey, we're not going to go with you. Like, what the hell happened? It was an amazing relationship. Like, it's a perfect fit. Well, we discovered now in this economy now that the sale is not lost anymore at the end of the process. It's now lost at the beginning.
Wow.
And I'll prove it to you right now in a fun way. If someone calls your office tomorrow morning and you pick it up and you hear, hi, my name is, I'm with, we are a, how are you today? What goes through your mind in about 3 seconds?
Again, they're trying to sell me something, but I look at, and yeah, for the context of this, yes, they're trying to sell me something.
It's over at hello.
Yeah.
We shut down immediately. And I'm not suggesting your folks do outbound calls. Maybe they do, but I will make the case today that most of your folks listening and watching this are losing their opportunities, not at the end of the process. They're losing it way at the beginning.
That makes sense.
And the third one is the idea of rejection. The rejection is part of the game. And you know this better than anyone, being door to door. If you can't take a no, if you're not tough enough, if you're not resilient, you're not made for success. Remember the old school manager who got beat up and said, hey, you can't take a no like I did, you're not made for success. Well, guess what we discovered in our research? We discovered that rejection is triggered by certain things you say and do unconsciously that cause the other person to push back on you. And you'll be blown away by what those are. I'll share those in a few minutes, but that's really the core myths we got to kind of address before we kind of pour in some new stuff today.
And so have you seen, obviously you've been in sales is it more than 20 years now? Yeah. And you've seen all different types of iterations, and from, cold calling, door to door, and internet selling, and relationship selling, and using referral partners, and probably all these different shifts. And I'm assuming that regardless of whatever means of selling yesteryear or today, this kind of just applies to all those forms of selling.
This applies to every medium that you're in right now, whether it's social media, email, marketing, doesn't matter. This isn't about the medium, it's about the approach that you use. And we're going to dead center address the exact sales approach that we're now using, most of us, from the 1980s. We just brought it forward to today's day. We're not even aware of it. And we sound like everybody else making that sales pitch.
So I can tell you from my experience, going door to door, 8 to 10 hours a day, started in Atlanta, moved to Charlotte, ran my own office for a few years, had some outside deals where we had people that were like me that ran offices that had 20, 30, 40 reps in them. The best thing that we learned, we had on the job training as we were doing this. And so we would see anywhere from 80 to 100 people a day. And we did teach our people, because we had to start them off with this mindset. We did teach them about law of averages. The more people you see, the more contacts you'll make, the more contacts you'll make, the more conversations, more opportunities you have. And then from there, kind of just like a funnel. But that was because we had to teach them things, core principles like work ethic. You had to go see enough people, right? We also had to teach them a script, which we called the 5 steps to a conversation. So intro, short story, presentation, close, rehash, which meant multiple sales. And then we had to teach them factors of impulse, like how to sell based on greed or sense of urgency, and like all these old school, like Zig Ziglar, Gordon Gekko, like really kind of felt a little dirty sometimes. Call like pull the string, like all this, like if you think about a cat, it chases the string. They want to hear more about it.
It's a good word for that. It's called manipulation.
Exactly. And it just never felt authentic. And so going through the field, I remember, because I had to go through the field to become a franchisee. I had to go and learn how to do the sales. I had to go and teach this to other people. And it just, I started learning pretty quickly that I started implementing more of my personality, more of my people skills. And as those started to hone and get better, and I used, time tested sales, I guess, techniques at that time, I started learning that I didn't have to be another carbon copy, like another cog in the wheel of this process. I could start to kind of invent and do my own thing. And so talk about that iteration for you and what you saw once you started putting it in the field, so to speak. What were you learning? What were you seeing? And like, how did it grow into what it is now?
Well, what I realized was that we have been conditioned with old behaviors, old thinking, and all these old techniques. And we assumed that's what selling was. That's as far as we could see. We didn't even know, even to this day, that we can go beyond that. And the way you shatter that wall, that glass wall there, is you really address the elephant in the room and all the things that we believe are right. I'll give you an example right now. Let me drop a bomb, okay? So I'm going to ask all your listeners to remove one key phrase forever from the vocabulary as of today and never use it again post Ari. And been in sales for a long time, this might hurt just a bit, okay? So I'm going to ask all your listeners and viewers never again to use the phrase follow-up ever again as of today. Never call somebody to say, what's the only industry in the world that uses the word follow-up?
Sales.
Who calls and says, hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up on our last meeting. It's so 1980s. And we also say things, hey, I'm just giving you a call. There's a couple other classic ones. You might remember them. I'm giving you a call to what?
Depends on where you're going. Yeah.
Check in.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Touch base.
Yeah.
We still use these every single day on email. We assume that's the languaging to use. But the minute you call someone and say, hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up, they associate you with the negative salesperson stereotype from 1980s. So stop using that languaging. It's killing your sales. Instead, let me give you the word to replace it with. Here it is. I'm giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation, any feedback on our last meeting, any feedback on proposal. Feedback's going where? Away from the sale, not towards the sale. See, we've been so conditioned to get the yes that we're so narrowly focused in our languaging and our thinking that people know the game and hello. They know what you're doing. They know what's behind the agenda. You got to break that mold, and I'll give you some principles today that really will shatter that and give people a sense of empowerment again to be authentic, to be themselves, and still be effective.
Let's dive into that since we're talking about it. How can people be more authentic, and how can they show up better as a human being and be less dehumanized?
Exactly. So let me walk you through a couple principles right now that we have in our program. The first one is this one, and that is your goal is to always be diffusing pressure, taking pressure out of the conversation so they feel comfortable opening up to you and telling you the truth. Now, how we do that is we invented our own what we call trust-based languaging. Words and phrases used to replace sales scripts that use the typical things we're used to using. Let's do a live scenario right now. Let's say you're on a call with somebody, first contact, they're qualified, good opportunity, you're pretty excited about it, looks pretty good, call comes to a close. Normally, in a call like that, we usually say things like what? We say things like, hey, how about we get together, have a cup of coffee, set up a call. See, we're conditioned to move things which direction?
Forward, yeah.
Forward. That's what we're conditioned to do, right? We sense an opportunity, we're thinking, awesome, let's go forward towards a sale. But what happens if you attempt to move things forward and they aren't ready yet? What do you break right there at the beginning of your process with them?
Trust.
Right? You break trust, right? So same scenario, our mindset, our languaging. Call is going well, good chemistry, looks like a good fit. Call comes to a close. Brian's saying, hey, how about we move forward? What we say instead is this. What we say is, where do you think we should go from here?
Just let them give you the insight you're looking for, and they're essentially starting to sell themselves if they are on the level.
When you say to somebody, where do you think we should go from here? They're usually in a state of shock. They can't believe somebody would actually ask them what they want to do. This is unheard of in the world of sales. And you know what usually happens? They say things like, "Oh, I've got one more question," or what about this? You know what comes out? The truth.
Yeah.
And that is your goal. Your goal is to stop focusing on your goal, the sale, and build trust with someone and be present with them so they feel comfortable telling you where they stand. So you're not chasing ghosts and hoping they might buy from you, playing that numbers game that everyone hates so much.
And you're really at the very least getting real. I mean, you're being a human and you're having a conversation with somebody, but you're getting real-time market research. You're hearing kind of the pain points and you're seeing what they really care about. Because if you're just so myopic about the sale, you're going to miss all those nuances, and then you're just going to keep repeating same patterns. But if you get enough market research from enough, prospects, clients, whatever you're calling them, you kind of have this idea of how to be empathetic, number one, and then number two, how to be able to look for these cues and clues as you go down, just in case they don't say it in that first conversation. Maybe they didn't even know to ask that question, but then you can even, kind of prod and go along and ask those questions and get them to self-realize, which is beautiful.
And you might even discover that you are not a fit.
Right. And then now you're not wasting anyone's time, including your own, which is super important, because a lot of times people will continue to chase something long after they should probably put it to rest, for sure.
You got to equally weight a yes or no is the same. When we're about the yes, we narrow all of our activities and behavior and our thinking, and that's where the whole thing blows up. You have to open up your space around this. Let me give you another one more. The other one principle is the idea of what I call getting to the truth of people. Now, what that means is having them feel comfortable opening up to you, telling you everything so you know where you stand in the beginning and not the end. Let me give you an example of this. You'll enjoy this one. I recently got a call from someone that came to my office. They got through my team, got to me, unscheduled call. I pick it up and I hear Mr. Galper. I say, yeah. My name's John Johnson, change the name. I'm with XYZ company. We're a big company. You recognize global business. We're looking to bring someone like yourself to change our sales team and culture. We're looking at you and two other people. We'd like to know, Mr. Galper, why should we go with you? Why are you the best? And give me your best sales pitch. He says this to me, of all people in the world, right? Because that's the game. He's in the game right now, expecting me to start doing what? Hey, yeah, let me tell you. So that's the game everyone's in. So I took a deep breath, lowered my voice, got centered in my approach, and I said this to him. What I said was, well, isn't that interesting? And then I paused. There's more. Don't worry, there's more. And then I said to him, over here, our company, we have a similar process to you where we ask some questions, gather information to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, we decided where to go from there. And I said to him, would you be open to that? That's all I said to him. Next thing I heard on the phone, nothing, dead silence. I'm like, oh, he's just still there. Then he like breathed across like a relief, sigh of relief. He goes, I heard him breathe. Then I can tell he lowers his shoulders and he became human again. He took off what I call sales armor, the armor everyone carries around. He becomes human again. He lowers his voice and he says to me, okay, what kind of questions do you have for me?
Wow.
Next thing that we discover, one, within 5 minutes, he's not a decision maker. Two, he has no budget. And three, he's just curious as to what I do. And off he went to some of my stuff on website, and I hung up the phone 5 minutes later. Now, what did my process just save me months of?
Time. Yeah.
Chasing, time, energy. Actually, it's this drug in our bodies, and it's latent. And it's triggered with inbound calls like that. You know the drug is called? It's called hopium. You know the hopium drug?
Yeah.
You get the inbound call, you're like, yeah, baby, I got the call. Who high five, guys? Big deal pending. Yoo-hoo! You're so excited you get that call. And then you follow up and you get their voicemail, like, what the heck? He's not there. Then you go to your laptop and you type in hi. I'm writing you to what? To
follow up.
Yes, and you're stuck all over again on the word
Yeah.
follow up. And here you are in this vicious cycle, asking yourself, why selling is so painful? Why are you being dragged in the middle of it? Because you haven't yet shed the old way of thinking to realize this is not about the sale anymore. It's about the truth and building trust with people so you know where you stand.
So,
And if you notice, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You're going to say if you notice.
And one last thing, if you might have caught that, I said to him one key word. I said to him, I didn't say, would you be interested? I said, would you be open?
Yep.
And that word open replaces the word, would you be interested? Never use that word ever again in sales, because interested is going for the yes. Open is between a yes and a no. And that's where the truth comes out.
So in this process with these principles and you know, just thinking about, um, there has to be some practicality to this, right? There has to be some sort of, like, in sales, you want to, even if it's on your own, you know, CRM, or if it's some sort of follow up on your own thing without saying follow up, you want to be able to, like, kind of document these conversations. You want to be able to kind of keep a pulse on where things are going. Did you change that side of things too, to kind of marry over to the conversations that you were having, or did you keep some of the same, you know, sales tools, we'll call them, like CRM systems, follow-up systems on the back end? Did you keep those in place, or did you modify all that together as well?
Yeah, no, you still keep the structure in place, but what you change is your languaging and your mindset.
Yep.
You change the way you communicate to the customer and prospect. See, here's the thing. The sale is lost or made inside the conversation, not inside the CRM, not on the spreadsheet, not in the sales meeting, not with your buddies. It's not out here. It's inside the conversation. And that's where we mess it up. Think about it. They got the problem. We got the solution. Straight line of sight, right? What do? We fumble the ball with all the sales stuff, and we wonder, oh, why are we chasing the guy? What happened? See, the way I view it is this. It's got to become what I call a doctor-patient relationship. When you see a doctor, what do? They say to you, where does it hurt? They diagnose your problem. They don't become your friend. And I'm going to drop a bomb right now. And I tell my clients this: stop focusing on building relationships pre-sale. You build them post-sale, not pre-sale. Relationships and trust building can be mutually exclusive. When you see a doctor, does he try and become your friend? Do you want him to like him first? I got a new bumper sticker I'm working on right now. You know what it's going to be? Doctors don't do coffee. Nice. See, we're so used to the old school. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Hey, that's great. See, we laid in thick in the beginning. We think they got to like us and know us before they buy from us. Are you kidding me? They know it's fake anyways. They don't want to become your friend. That's so old school. Building relationships with somebody you don't even know. Are you kidding me? What they want is their problem solved. They don't really care about how you solve their problem. All they care about is they trust you enough to solve it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that takes a lot of time back and power back, right? Versus just throwing it all up on the front end. And you know, this is a huge core tenet to a lot of seasoned salespeople, where they feel that they have to have that rapport, that relationship, that friendship, if you will. And a lot of times you get stuck in this dance. And I've fallen in this trap too, where I'll make a friend, but I won't make a sale. You know what I mean? And
the reason why is because what you're doing there, without you realizing it, you're crossing social norms and business norms. When they cross together, it gets so mushy. There's no next steps because they don't feel like they need to, because they're already your friend.
Yeah,
you'll give them a break.
Yeah, they feel like that they get the inside track versus like keeping that professionalism there. And that's true. I mean, doctors will prescribe you something after they ask you a ton of questions, whether it's holistic prescription, if it's surgery, if it's a pill, whatever the hell they decide to do. It's a lot different than if you're just kind of like on the front end, they're trying to be your best friend, which no doctor really does.
They aren't legally or ethically allowed to prescribe you a solution until they fully diagnosed your problem. Now, what do we do in sales? So how's it going? So what challenges do you have? The minute we hear the problem and go, great, I can help you with that. See, we prematurely jump into the process and we break trust at hello, because we are conditioned to believe and seduced by the fact that if we sense an opportunity, our whole body goes nuts. We're like, oh, perfect. Yes. Let me show them a demo. Yeah, baby. Woohoo. High five, guys. I got a live one on the phone right now.
So what's a proper response to the interest that you may be sensing from a prospect versus?
Well, the way you reshift this, by the way, and I'm working on a new book. It's going to be called The One Call Sale. how to compress your sales cycle down to one conversation without multiple steps. Imagine that world where you have one call with somebody, you onboard them or disengage in one conversation. No more follow-up, no more phone calls, no more emails, no more chasing.
How's that possible?
Possible.
How is it possible?
Of course, I love that because that's exactly the paradigm I'm going to break. So here's how you do it. Let's say you have a scheduled call with somebody, okay? Assuming they're qualified. It will link through LinkedIn or Lead or whatever. There's a scheduled call. Usually when you have a call with someone like that, how do those calls usually start in selling? They start with what?
Hey, how are you? My name is, like, the whole thing.
Hey, nice to meet you. How's it going? What do you do? What do you do? Hey, let's get to know a little bit better and let's see if we can help you out. Like all this kind of preamble goes on for a while to get to the meat, which is way at the end, which is too late. Okay. So we take the relationship piece out. You're the doctor. You start a call with someone in the beginning. You start like this. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well. And here it comes. Ask permission. If it's okay with you, can we start with you sharing with me a little bit about your situation, a bit of your story, and some of your challenges you're working on right now, what you challenge you might have, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Yep.
Put the ball in their court right away. Hello. They start talking and telling you their situation, their challenges. The minute you hear them tell you a problem, like what would be in your world of classic, I mean, whatever. Let's say they say to you, our team's not performing right or something like that. And you sell team coaching, whatever. So the minute you hear them tell you a problem, you don't say, oh, I can help you with that. You say this, and here's the magic phrase. You say, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Get them to expand on it so you can really.
You unpack, you go what I call below the iceberg. You unpack the problem to a deep level where you ROI it and you get to a level you help them amplify it to really understand the totality of their issue. And here's the definitive question you ask at the end of that. When you're at the bottom of the iceberg, you ask this, you say, is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? Or are you happy to live with it for a while and let it go? I'm okay either way.
You get some classic indifference in that statement as a salesperson. You're not thirsty for the sale. Yeah.
You help them be decisive and own the problem. See, it's like a therapist and a patient. If the patient doesn't own the problem, man, they're the worst patients. You got to drag them through the whole thing. Well, we don't even do that in sales. See, you've got to become the doctor. You got to help them own the problem, help them realize the losses by not solving it, and ask them the question, is it a priority for you to solve or not? If it's not, let them go. If it is, you onboard them.
So in terms of, as you're creating these principles and seeing how they play out in real life, talk about your experience and using them and like things that you saw real time and maybe aha moments you had in your own sales process as you started to create this whole new business and this whole new sales strategy thinking.
Well, what I realize is it's very easy to be seduced by potential prospects that say things to us like, yeah, we're interested. Mm-hmm. Yeah, send me your proposal. This sounds great. We'd like to look at 5 of these if we could. Yeah. See, we when we hear that, we're like, ding, ding. We're like, oh, damn, this is awesome. This is my commission for the month. We get seduced into this whole shift towards the sale. What we don't realize is that your prospects typically may tell you what they want, but they really don't know what they need.
Yep.
Which means you have to become a truth teller. You got to slow them down. Don't get caught up in their momentum. See, they're coming to the call with you thinking, I'm going to shop this thing right now. I'm going to shop this guy. I'm going to control it. I'm going to get him going. I'm going to get him excited. I'm going to gather all the information. At the end of the call, I know what I'm going to tell him. I'll think about it. Mm-hmm. Follow up with me next week. And we assume that's the game. That's what sales is. That's a dysfunctional process that you are lured into because you aren't even aware there's a whole different world outside that box.
Well, let me ask you this question, because there's going to be people that are used to a longer sales cycle depending on product or service. And just from my experience, I used to sell average $30, $40 price point in my very first sales career, where we were selling fun, entertainment, sports, travel. It was great. And it was an impulse sale because we told them we would never come back, whether we reworked the territory on different campaigns, but we would never be back with this specific promotion, doing this specific thing. We would use our different things and people would buy on the spot. We had hard close, soft close, all different kinds of closes that we would use and all different things, a lot of old school salesy stuff. And we got people to buy on the spot. And we would walk home literally with cash, check, or credit card information every single day years ago. And that was one way of selling. And then you have more, I guess, advanced sales, right? You have like pharmaceutical sales, med device sales, you have software as a service sales, you have these longer sales cycles, quote unquote. Can you apply that one call close to the time tested belief of these longer sales cycles with these more sophisticated products?
Sure. One quick change. It's not the one call close, it's the one call sale. Now, I don't necessarily mean you get a signed contract on
Okay.
the spot.
Okay.
What I mean is you get a commitment for them to schedule with you and next movement forward, because they're the ones that schedule it. Now, on that question though, what we have realized is that if you can frame the conversation right and get to the bottom of the iceberg with them and ask the hard questions with them from the beginning. And by the way, this initial call is not a happy call. This is not exciting for them. This is the doctor and the patient. This is you. This is them saying to you, my shoulder hurts. I think
right around feel the pain. Yeah.
And he goes, let me take a look over here. Ah, yeah. Oh man, you know what? Jesse, you got an x-ray, an MRI right away. I got to take a look at the whole scan to really understand why the problem's happening, how long it's been happening for. And I got to see the impact of it and where you are in the cycle of this thing. Otherwise, I can't tell you how to solve this problem. You're like, okay. And that clarity of someone helping you understand your own problem is the value they get from that call. See, we're taught in sales to provide value, educate, share ideas, do what I call free consulting. Yeah. Where we educate. And I tell my clients, stop educating. Stop giving value. It's such a crazy idea. They don't want value from them. What they want from you is clarity. They want clarity on their own problem. Yep. That's the relief. They don't care what's in the medicine. They don't care what chemicals are in the medicine bottle. All they care about is that you're the one to solve their problem.
Clarity and certainty. I mean, that's what I sell. I'm a financial advisor, and there's much like you, I'm a contrarian. So I'm a fiduciary, which means that I basically, there's 400,000 financial planners in the United States, only 5% of fiduciaries. And we don't have to sell a product or service. We give advice and get paid for advice. And we're in perfect alignment with our clients. And it's just this really beautiful place, because what those people, what my client family, so I do operate a little bit differently. I do have a lot of really great relationships with my clients. And a lot of it does start at the beginning, but it does matriculate and become better as we go along. A lot of them are looking for confidence, clarity, and just that you can deliver that with what you're talking about. And they have a pain point, they have this objection, they have this this thing that is not working, and they're looking for a solution. And you have to dig that out of them. Like, you have to show them that you can provide that clarity and context and that confidence.
Look, you said it right. What your prospective clients are looking for is that they can trust you, and most importantly, that you actually care about them.
Yep.
That your agenda is not your sale. Your agenda is to help them solve their problem. And it's very easy for them to tell from you where you're at. And if you're playing the game with them, being extra nice, or, hey, how's it going? How your kids doing? If they know you're playing that game with them, they know you're not being authentic.
Yep.
They know you're laying it thick just to get to their business. And that's the thing. 3-4 years ago, you could still do that. People would know the difference. Now, people know at hello when it's over. They can tell by your energy being too up, too high, too quick. They know you're in the game because you're not being present with them. Your mind's already on the next step.
So how do you reframe some seasoned sales professionals? How do you reframe their mindset in your teaching?
Well, first, I give them the languaging to use. It's easiest for them to use my phraseology to get results. They themselves can see it working in real time and prove it themselves. There's a better way. Like, try this tomorrow on your first call with someone and say, where do you think we should go from here? See what happens. They'll start talking and talking. You're like, oh my God, this guy was right. Oh my God. Try and call someone tomorrow morning and say, hi, I'm just giving you a call to see if you have any feedback in our last conversation we had. Watch what happens. They'll start talking and you're like, oh my God, this guy. See, just try to use some of my languaging I'm giving you on this call today, and watch the performance. Watch it happen in front of your own eyes. When you see it's possible to connect with people without selling anymore, and you build trust instead, you'll begin to shift your thinking, and it'll start to happen on its own.
Paradigm shift, and just the belief that comes from that, and then just the temperature in the room between relationship will just change naturally. It won't feel so, hunter hunted kind of thing.
You don't have to work so hard at this. You know what we do when we leave home and we go to work? We put sales armor on.
Yeah.
We become somebody. We tee ourselves up. We're like, woo, let's make it a good day, guys. Hit those phones. See, the reason why we have to get teed up is because we know the bullets are coming.
Yeah, the rejection.
We're about to fight the rejection. We're about to go in the fight. So we get all pumped up. And they can feel that from you a mile away. They know hello where you're at. So you got to let that armor go and relax, stay calm, take a deep breath, get centered in our mindset, and approach the conversation in a way where they welcome you, not push you away.
Can remember, man, we used to, back in 2006, I had just gotten out of the military and got into that first sales career. And I was PhD, man, poor, hungry, determined, like just ready to go, whatever it took mentality. And there was this, we're all in our early 20s, mid 20s for the most part. And there's this thing called atmosphere in the morning. And atmosphere has music going on in the background, and people are practice pitching their, like, what you would call like word tracks or scripts, but basically like just overturning objections that you may hear in the field, working on different parts of their presentation. And people are slugging energy drinks and coffee and like just getting like ramped. It's really surreal to think about it, but it was so fun because it was that time of my life. But you get this, and then like there's a morning meeting to get you charged up, and then there's all this different stuff, and then you go hit the field, and then that's what you had to get yourself in that moment, at least back then.
Correct.
Get yourself jazzed up to take 90 no's to find 10 yeses.
That's correct.
Which in those days, there was 3 types of days you would have. You would have what was called the first type of day, which is where you'd go out and make your 10 sales right away. First couple hours, great day, yay. The next type of day was more, it was called the second type of day, where you would get sales every hour, like once an hour, which was great. And then the last kind of day, which was typical for a lot of people, which called the third type of day, where you don't find your sales until the last hour of the day. So you just took 90 no's, 90 no solicitings, 90 get the hell out of here, 90 your mother's this, you're this. Like you just took all this rejection, and then all of a sudden you still had to have that great attitude to be able to find those 10 sales. So removing the whole boiler room, the whole energy drink, the whole like let's get crazy, like that's going to help a lot of people live just a better quality of life.
I'm exhausted just thinking about that.
I know. And I did this for like 13 months. I did it for 13 months. I had to go from outside sales to ownership. I was going to do it sooner, but I left Atlanta to go to Charlotte to follow another owner that was opening up another location, and had to restart again. So it took me 13 months of doing that to finally get to an ownership position, which is, it's not easy to do. It's I think less.
That's what youth gives you. Youth gives you the ability to burn yourself out for a while and get back up again.
Obsession's a young person's game, right? So just reframing that mindset, I think, is a huge shift. And I think that getting people those 2 questions that you just gave, is going to help them. And then it's a matter of, where do they go from there? So that would probably lead to your books and your teaching. So where do people go from there?
Best place to come to is unlockthegame.com. Just like it sounds, there's a free course there, intro course. You can dig into it. There's more stuff in there you'll love. We all on LinkedIn. Come by, say hello, drop me a note, send me a connection. Look, just come forward if you're open-minded. If you're not open-minded, stay where you're at, fight the battle. But if you want to rise above the noise and make a breakthrough, come meet us, talk to us on the phone, see how we treat you. Just enjoy what it's like not to be sold.
And are you working with, I'm sure there's a lot of different things, but from sales teams to individuals to executives, like what, all the above?
Yeah. So basically we did a lot of team training. We work with high performers, one-on-one high performance coaching, but the real key is we work with folks who are in a low volume, high price point model, high margin, high trust, long relationships, like financial advisors, for instance, consultants, SaaS sales, large sales teams who have a sales cycles that are long. That's really our ideal market.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What else is going on for the rest of 2021? What are you looking forward to? Business, personal?
Well, I got this book I'm working on right now. I'm negotiating with a publisher in New York for hopefully a bestseller launch next year called The One Call Sale. That's my biggest thing I'm working on. And I got also a new show on live streaming called Stump the Guru.
Stump the Guru. I like it.
You can jump on and you can try and throw me off the mountain and ask me any your toughest sales question live in front of a social media audience.
Beautiful. And where is this? Where can they find this? Is it just
go to LinkedIn or my socials, go to my profile, and you'll find Stump the Guru there, and just join us live and ask me a question live and try and stump me.
Beautiful. We'll be sure to drop some information on the episode as it comes out, man. But I look forward to seeing you do more of this. This work is powerful because it's reshaping the old sales dogma, the old everything we just talked about that makes sales soul draining and soul sucking.
Yes.
It can reinstitute purpose into people's profession. So keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks so much for your time. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Jesse T Show.
Thank you.